So you know that thing where you've got an entire month to record a song and it's the last day and you've done about half of it? Yeah, that. Hi, my name is Pete and this is Studio Live Today, where I help you create, record and release your best music. And in a very do as I say, not as I do moment, I have not done the work that I needed to do this month. It's been a bit of a crazy month. I've been off work, which makes it even less of an excuse, but I am about halfway through the recording process of my song. Luckily, I have all the lyrics written. I have most of the arrangement done, but in the next 2 hours, I need to sit down with the guitar, the keyboard, my voice and my microphone, which is somewhere, and I need to finish this song off. So let's jump in. I'm going to take you along for the ride, not for 2 hours, don't worry, but I'm going to give you some highlights as I go. I'm going to drop in and let you know how I'm going, because a bit of time pressure is not a bad thing. So let's jump in and see where I'm at with this song at the moment and what I can get done in the next 2 hours. So here is where I'm at with this song at the moment. I have drums here. I have the original bass guitar, which is just the Smart Instrument autoplay bass, which I was going to replace. I may not have time to. I have stereo acoustic guitars here, which were recorded roughly, so they may need a re-record. I have a piano part, which was recorded roughly, so I may need a re-record. I have a clarinet part, which was recorded very roughly and will need to be recorded properly. And then I have vocals. So I have my lead vocals, and I've got 3 different background vocals. In fact, 4 different background vocals, I think. The track itself is coming together okay. Let's just play a little piece of it, turn the metronome off, just so that you can hear what it's sounding like at the moment. It's not as dire as I may have made it out to be, but it's definitely nowhere near finished. Let's hit play. Mother told me, son, you'd better dance while you've got the chance and half the talent. But I would rather. So you can hear there that we've got the arrangement sounding okay, the volume levels are okay, we've got everything sounding okay, but I really want to record this a bit better so that we can then mix it and master it and get it ready for release. So the clock is starting in 5 minutes. It's 1:55 p.m. I'm giving myself 2 p.m. till 4 p.m. and I'll check back in with you every little while to see how we're going here. The bass here, I was going to play on my real bass. What I'm actually going to do is reamp this through a bass simulator here in GarageBand, which is a cool little hack that can give you a better bass sound. I'm not convinced on the drums whether they need to stay or whether I need to do some hand percussion. They're probably going to stay with a bit of a tweak at this stage. I need to do the piano and the clarinet, which I will do afterwards, but the most important thing here is going to be my vocals, because at the moment I have recorded these vocals and background vocals and they are not sounding great. If we just take a quick listen. And hang out with the boys and start. So she dragged me away. So you can hear there I'm not hitting the right notes. This is basically me just experimenting. So I'm going to go away now. I'm going to re-record the lead vocal here and probably a double of the lead vocal as well. And then I'm going to record my 4 background vocal tracks. And then I'll come back and show you and you can listen to what they sound like. I'm going to go over, set up my MXL 550 large diaphragm condenser, which I've shown in plenty of other videos, record these vocals, and then we'll come back and take a listen. Okay, a quick look at my setup here. We've got the Steinberg UR12 with its power bank there, is powering it up. We've got the Lightning to USB 3 connector there, my Sennheiser HD280 headphones, and my MXL 550 large diaphragm condenser up here, ready to record. Now, it's a really hot day here in the studio, so I have the air conditioner on at the moment, so we're going to be playing the game of cool the room down for a minute, do a vocal take, give it another minute, and then go and rinse and repeat. So if you have noisy appliances in your studio or in your recording environment, you may need to do the same. Turn them off while you're recording, your computer fans, your air conditioners, all the rest of it. Anyway, enough procrastinating, let's dive in and record some vocals. Okay, so I've just done 1 take of my vocals, a quick air conditioner break, and if I just am silent for a moment, there's the reason why we need the air conditioner off, because that is going to be our background noise if we turn it off. And it goes away and we have as close to silence as we possibly can. So let's go ahead and record a second take of these lead vocals. So vocal recording is done, or at least I hope it is. I've done 3 lead vocal complete end-to-end takes, and I've done about 6 tracks of backing vocals, which I'll show you towards the end of the video. But a couple of quick vocal recording tips while I'm paused here in between my vocals and doing the keyboard stuff, and that is to make sure that when you're recording, don't be afraid to record in chunks. So you'll see when I show you the tracks in GarageBand that we've got a chunk for like a chorus, a verse, a chorus, a verse. I did each vocal take, each lead vocal take in about 4 sections, and then the same with the backing vocals. So you can sing all the way through, but I was running out of breath and I was hitting wrong notes, so I would sort of stop and then go back and record the next chunk. And I've got a whole video where I show the full process, so I'm not going to show that here today because I'm short on time, but I'll link that up there and down there. The other tip is that at the end of a vocal take, make sure that you're leaving a gap, and what I mean there is that you are silent at the end. So when you sing your last line, Dixon a time, silence for as long as you can. Like, give it 10 seconds if you can. Have 8 bars, 16 bars at the end, because when you're doing your final mix, you will want that silence, that fade out at the end. And the amount of tracks that I've ruined by like clunking my guitar, and I've like got this nice sustained guitar chord and then I go clunk like too early. Same with vocals. Sing it out, let the reverb finish, and then be completely quiet and don't bump your mics down like I just did. So that's a couple of quick tips on the vocals. But now I'm going to grab my MIDI keyboard, which is somewhere, and I'm going to play with my my clarinet track and my piano track and get these sounding good. Okay, so small issue. I had a small failure with the iPhone. I think I pushed it to the limit with all of these vocal backing tracks. So we've had to transfer over using AirDrop, which is a handy feature, by the way. I'll link a video about airdropping between devices to my iPad Air 2 so that I could complete the recording process. So what I've recorded is all of these vocal tracks, and then I've come back and I've done my piano and I've done my clarinet. And you can hear by my voice that I've probably pushed my voice a little bit too far. In fact, my wife said, hey, you're sounding a bit husky on some of those backing vocals, which I absolutely was. So we will hear what those sound like and if I include all of those in the final mix. But what I'll do now is I'll dive in on the iPad into GarageBand and I'll give you a quick view of what I've recorded and give you a bit of an idea and some tips around how I've recorded it. And then I'll finish off the video by playing what I've got so far, which is my rough mix of this track. And then in the next video, I'll be coming back to do my final mix and then master this track and get it ready for release. So let's jump into GarageBand now. We already had our drum track and I talked about our bass and our guitar tracks, which I haven't touched. I still haven't done that reamping of our bass. I'm leaving it as is for now, and I may need to come back and do a few tweaks on the bass and the drums before we do our final mix. The guitars are in there. I've re-recorded the piano, so it's a fairly similar piano part that you can see there. Let's just have a quick listen to what the piano itself is sounding like. So it's just doing some little just stab chords on the whole notes there, and then towards the end here it gets a little bit more complex. And you'll hear how that sounds with the rest of the mix in a moment. I re-recorded the clarinet, which opens up, does a little intro bit at the start here that sounds a little bit like this. And what I don't like about that clarinet sound, apart from the fact that it's a synth instrument, but the attack on it, even though I had the attack down as low as it can go, it's not quite there. So I might switch up that instrument, or I might change that to something else. We'll play around with that. I know I don't have a lot of time, but we'll continue on with this. So that's what I recorded. I just jumped over to my piano actually to record those, and I'll link a video about recording using a MIDI piano, in case you haven't done that before. Now here are my vocals. So I mentioned this before, I've got 1, 2, 3 lead vocals. So at the moment I've just got the vocal lead 2, which was the best overall take. And what I'm going to do, I mentioned those chunks. So here's those chunks that we recorded it in. You can see that I did them in a few different sections in each part. And then what I'm going to do is actually play through, what I like to do is use one take, and then I'll use any components from 1 and 3 that I think I might want to. And I also might use 1 and 3 for some doubles in my chorus. So the key to this is to try to sing 3 takes that are going to sound as similar as possible. So let's just listen to a little bit of this vocal that I like the best. Mother told told me, son, you'd better dance. So what I don't love is that I use my MXL 550 large diaphragm condenser, which is a little bit harsh and sharp because it's a large diaphragm condenser. So it's picking up the top end, the treble. So I'm going to need a little bit of EQ on here, and the S sounds. I don't love my S sounds. I have a natural lisp I've talked about before. So I probably, if I had more time, would re-record that using something like an SM57 or some sort of dynamic microphone that's going to get a better sort of sound. But anyway, we're going to go with it for now. We just might need to EQ some of that treble out of that vocal. And then what we have down here is I've got some backing vocals. So I've got the backing vocal, this one panned to the left and this one to the right. So these two are my, now you won't hear the panning because I'm just playing this through the screen recorder, but at the end I'll play a full stereo version so you can listen to what it all sounds like together. But this is these two. So they just sort of play a little bit of a backing that sounds like this. Son, there'll be time for all that, you better... So that's just going to go throughout. I then bring in a third backing vocal down here, which does a little bit of this. So in the second verse, we have the 3-part harmony as opposed to the 2-part harmony that we have. And that's a good way to vary up to get a little bit of that variation that I often talk about. I then bring in some more backing vocals here. So this is my a cappella section. I didn't mention this earlier, but this song has an a cappella section, which I'm going to be a bit brave here. And I'm just going to solo all of these so you can hear what this a cappella section sounds like. Let's hit play on this one. We are time moves on. So we need to do a little bit of EQing and a little bit of mixing there to make that all balance out right. We've got a bit of a rough mix going on here at the moment. So you'll hear that when you hear the final section, how they all come together in one final little part there. So that is all we've got at the moment. Oh, this is our chorus. Sorry, this is one last one. So this is our chorus backing track, so our harmony. Standing in line and we're making the most of each rhyme. I'm happy to see that you're waltzing with me and we're dancing in 6 and 8 time. So again, needs a little bit of EQ, a little bit of work on that to make it sit nicely in the mix, but that is where we're at the moment. So what I'm going to do now to finish off this video is play back the track in its rough mix form that we have at the moment here. As I said, I basically broke my iPhone 6s Plus by putting too many tracks on here, which, it's pretty old hardware, so I'm in the market for a new phone. Any recommendations? iPhone 8, iPhone 10? Anyway. Off topic, let's now jump in and play this track through, and this is my song 6 and 8 in its current rough mix form. Told me, son, you'd better dance while you've got the chance and have the talent. But I would rather sit and play with toys and hang out with the boys and start some trouble. So she dragged me away, all the while trying to say, son, there'll be time for all that, you better start dancing. Time after time we are standing in line and we're making the most of each rhyme. I'm happy to see that you're waltzing with me and we're dancing in 6 and 8 time. Now I found a reason I should dance, and there would be romance around the corner. 10 years later we would be as one, a different kind of fun, but one that's lasting. working, mortgage and kids. Wouldn't change it for quids. Only wish there was more time to go dancing. Time after time we are standing in line and we're making the most of each rhyme. I'm happy to see that you're waltzing with me and we're dancing in 6 and 8 time. Now we're older, time is moving on, like a distant song you don't remember. But I know one thing that will never fade. The memories we made will last forever. And my mother was right, and to my delight, now I can pass on her words to the next generation. Time after time we are standing in line and we're making the most of each rhyme. I'm happy to see that you're waltzing with me and we're dancing in 6 and 8 time. Time after time we are standing in line and we're making the most of each rhyme. I'm happy to see that you're waltzing with me and we're dancing in 6 and 8 time. Yes, we're dancing in 6 and 8 time. We're dancing in 6 and 8 time. We're dancing in 6 and 8 time. So there you go. Is this song ready to release? Well, maybe not, but you know what? It's a heck of a lot closer than it was 2 hours ago. Thanks for watching. If you've got any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can drop those down below, and I'll see you on the next video, where hopefully we will be finishing off this song. Hey, thanks for sticking around. If you would like to check out 2 more videos in this series, there are 2 linked right down below. You can also subscribe to the channel by clicking on the Studio Live Today icon in the top right corner, or head on over to Studio Live Today for even more audio goodness.